Okay, our next story is pork prices in China. Yes, pork prices in China. Now guys, this is a big deal. In my view, the pork situation could have a greater detrimental effect to the Chinese economy than the China-US trade war has. Why? The Chinese consumers are the largest consumers of pork in the world. China accounts for about 50% of global pork production and about 50% of global pork consumption. The current prices of fresh pork are about 80% higher than they were at this time last year. And according to the Ministry of Agriculture, pork inflation is increasing by double digits every month. This is going to have an effect not just on commodity price increases within China itself, but commodity traded around the world. The Chinese are going to open up their markets to foreign meat, particularly pork. The Chinese have already announced that they are going to remove the tariff that they had on US pork, which will be good for US farmers, and it will help alleviate some of the supply side issues that the Chinese are having. Remember that this issue is a direct result of an outbreak of African Swine Fever, which was first reported in China in the northeast in August of last year. Now, some reports are showing that up to 40% of Chinese pork reserves have been reduced. That's over 100 million pigs. The Chinese government have delegated this as a key political task. They've also ordered state media to manage public opinion on this. So going forward, it's going to be increasingly difficult to have reliable information from state sources and from Chinese media when it comes to pork supply. The Chinese government want to fix this as soon as possible because they recognize pork supply stability as a key factor in maintaining social stability. In fact, pork is so important to the CCP that they have a strategic pork reserve, which they have used to alleviate some of the pressure that has come on based on the supply side issue with very, very limited success. Best case scenario, if African swine fever is controlled, you will only see a return to pre-crisis levels of pork supply in about 12 to 14 months. That is going to mean a very, very busy year going forward for those in Beijing who are in charge of managing this political task. Remember, this is going to have an effect on international commodity prices as the Chinese import more pork and other meats to compensate for the shortage that they are now facing. Chinese have a large and growing middle class, which means they have the purchasing power to pay those higher prices and bid them away from other pork consumers overseas. That means prices go up. However, China also has massive wealth disparity, which means there is going to be tremendous social pressure put on poorer parts of the country where people simply cannot afford to purchase their base protein for the week. It is also worth pointing out that Hu Chunhua, the Vice Premier of the People's Republic of China, pointed out that the current shortfall that the Chinese are now facing is bigger than the entire international pork commodity market. That means that every single pig that is sold, every single piece of pork that is sold in the international commodity market does not even equal the shortfall that the Chinese are now facing. So this is going to be tricky for the government to balance going forward. But keep your eyes on this, guys. Pork prices, important stuff.